This video will explain simple if statements in Microsoft Excel. So what we have column G, starting here in cell G12 in the orange background. We want to display the qualification we think someone will attain. And there's two possible qualifications people might attain. They are degree, which is stored in cell G8, and masters, which is stored in G9. So for each individual, we're going to check their leaving cert points, which is in column D, and based on the points they've scored in their leaving cert, that will enable us to predict what qualification they will attain. So up here at the top of the screen, we have got the question. Question 1, it says, column G, currently empty, is meant to store details about the level of qualification that some scientists will achieve. Assume that scientists who score 400 leaving cert points or less will achieve a degree, and any scientist that scores more than 400 points, leaving cert points, will get a master's. And the two values, degree and masters, are stored in those two green coloured cells, which I've described as cells G8 and G9. So we want to start by entering an if statement in the orange coloured cell here, which is G12, to examine the leaving cert points for individual scientists and then choose between degree and masters for the qualification. And the qualification for scientists should then be displayed in the qualification column and fill down to replicate the formula. So the first individual we want to examine is Robin Allen, and Robin Allen gets 397 points, so therefore he should get a degree because he's below 400 or less. And that's the same situation applies for a number of people. When we get down here as far as Darren Kelly in number 8, and Darren Kelly scores 405 points, so Darren should be getting a master's. So in Microsoft Excel, one of the functions we have access to is called an if statement, and the if statement enables us to get Excel to examine the data for us and make the relevant decision. So when you want to write an if statement, there's a number of ways you can actually write it. One of them is by going through the formulas. So there's an option to insert some functions, and there's a whole range of function types, and the one that category that has ifs in it is logical. So if we hit the logical option, we choose if from the menu, and that gives us a little pop-up window where we can make the call and make the decision, or write the if statement to make the decision that will decide who gets degrees and who gets master's degrees. So when we chose the option called if, the skeleton of the if statement is already in motion. The if and the open brackets are already in place. So we want to check the leaving cert points. So the leaving cert points for the individual are held in cell D12 for Robin Allen. So we start by D12 and we want to know if they're less than or equal to 400 according to the question. That's what it says there. Anyone who gets 400 points, leaving cert points or less, will get a degree. So it's less than or equal to 400. And if that's the case, so this is the condition we're testing, the logical test. The value, if it's true, is going to be a degree, which is held in cell G9, or G8 rather. And the value, if it's false, is a master's degree. So if you get more than 400 points, you get a master's. And that's G9. And therefore, we have all the components necessary to make this decision. Now, I'm going to make a deliberate mistake here where I'm going to not put in absolute cell addresses for some parts of the formula, and then I'll go back and I'll manually fix them. So if D12 is less than or equal to 400, then you get G8, which is a degree, otherwise you get G9, which is a master's. So our condition we're testing is, we're checking if you've got 400 points or less. If that's the case, you get a degree, which is G8, otherwise you get a master's, which is G9. So I'll OK that, and it looks to be fine because it's for our friend Robin Allen, he's got a degree. But when I fill it down a few cells, things start to go pear-shaped. Things start to go badly wrong. And we got silly results here. We got a master's when it should be a degree, and then we got zeros and so on. So I've made a mistake, and the mistake I've made, if you look at the editing line here, is that it starts, rather than reading G8 and G9 all the time, it reads G9, G10 in the next cell, and then when I get down here to cell in row 20, it's reading G16 and G17. So we're interested in checking or using the values in G8 and G9 for every candidate we're checking on here. So we need to make the G8 cell reference absolute by pressing F4, and putting dollar signs on both the row and the column aspect of it. And likewise for G9, we'll make it column G and row 9 always. And we'll press return again, and this time when I fill down, hopefully it'll start to make sensible decisions. So as you can see here, when we get down as far as number 8, Darren Kelly, and 2 or 3 more people who were on more than 400 points, we see it's giving them a master's, and that's the case for Emmett Mullen as well. So it looks as if we've got the right code on this occasion. So what we just do now is fill down the remaining cells, and that'll decide who gets a degree and who gets a master's. So again, what you have in an if statement is you have the condition you're checking, you have the action to follow or to take if it's true, and then the action to take if it's false. So that's how to do a simple if statement in Microsoft Excel. That's the end of the clip.